Okay, so picture this. You walk into your favorite coffee shop, and you're totally confident about ordering. Like, you know exactly what you want.
No more,
No more stammering,
yeah, right.
or settling for something that's kind of almost right.
Yeah.
And that's what we're going to unlock today. So if you're learning English,
Yeah.
we're going to learn how to order coffee like a pro. So we're diving into this transcript from this language learning podcast called Chat and Learn. And they really focus on practical English skills for everyday life. So this is kind of like your cheat code for leveling up your English. So before we get into it,
Yeah.
I always like to ask, do you have a go-to coffee order?
I'm a cortado fan.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
I like those too.
Yeah. But I do have a funny story, though. One time I accidentally ordered a decaf cappuccino with oat milk for David.
No.
And yeah, it turned out there was another David
Oh, no.
in line, and we both got the wrong drinks.
Oh, that's so funny.
It happens.
Oh, man.
It does.
I bet you felt bad.
I did, yeah. I was like, I'm so sorry.
That's hilarious. It just goes to
Yeah.
show, even the experts mess up their coffee orders.
Absolutely.
But hey, that's why we're here, right?
Yeah.
To learn how to not do that.
Right.
So this Chat and Learn episode really breaks it down in a way that's super approachable. And they start with the simple stuff, like
Yeah.
greeting the barista.
Right.
And you might think, well, why even bother with that?
Yeah.
It's just a simple good morning or hi.
But it really sets the tone for a positive experience.
Yeah, I think it does.
Yeah.
Kind of like sets the vibe.
Absolutely.
And they actually recommend being a little more bold and actually asking for a recommendation.
Yes.
You
Like, what do you recommend? Or what's popular here?
Yeah, that's a pro move.
Yeah, it shows that you're open to new things.
Right.
And could lead you to trying something that you wouldn't have had otherwise.
Totally.
It's like having a personal coffee guide
Yeah.
right behind the counter.
And sometimes those baristas, they have good recommendations. I've definitely gotten turned on to new drinks that way.
Yeah.
So, okay, you've aced the greeting. Maybe you've even gotten a cool recommendation. Now comes the main event.
Yeah.
Actually ordering your drink.
Right.
And Chat and Learn
Yeah.
gives you the magic phrases.
Yeah.
They're clear, straightforward phrases like, can I have a latte? Or I'd like a cappuccino, please.
Right. And they highlight how important it is to pronounce those drinks' names clearly.
Oh, yeah, that's a good point.
You don't want to end up with a chai latte when what you really wanted was a caramel macchiato.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, they even encourage you to practice saying latte and cappuccino out loud.
Oh, that's good.
It's a great confidence builder.
Yeah, I like that. And it's not just about coffee. They also cover tea, too.
Yeah.
So if you're not a coffee person, don't worry, you're still covered.
Yeah.
So now let's say you're craving something a little more specific, You want almond milk instead of regular milk. Or you want your drink extra hot.
Yes.
Chat and Learn has got the phrases to help make that happen. So they give you these lines like, can I get that with almond milk?
Yeah.
Or I'd like it extra hot, please.
Right.
Straight to the point.
Yeah. Just being empowered to ask for what you want.
I love that.
Yeah.
So much better than kind of hoping you'll get it,
Exactly.
right? Like just ask for it.
Yeah.
And now here comes the true test.
Yeah.
The would you like anything else question.
Yeah, the pastry staring you down.
Right.
Hey.
Chat and Learn tackles this head on.
Yeah.
They give you options for how to respond. Whether you want to go for that muffin or whatever pastry's calling your name, they give you a simple, yes, a muffin, please.
Right.
Or you could politely decline with a no thank you.
Yeah. Just to have that choice laid out for you.
I like that they don't shy away from the upselling psychology,
Yeah.
Because they're trying to get you to buy more,
Right.
but they give you the tools to say no if you want to.
Yeah.
So it's all about making an informed choice.
It really is.
Yeah. And of course, no coffee run is complete
Right.
without payment.
Right. The payment part.
Chat and Learn has got you covered there too with phrases for various situations.
Absolutely.
Can I pay by card?
Yeah.
Simple.
Right.
Here's $6. Keep the change.
Yeah.
Super easy. And they don't just stop there.
Right.
They also tell you what to do
Yeah.
when you pick up your order.
Right.
So they emphasize little things, like acknowledging the barista when they call your name.
It's a little thing, but it goes a long way.
It does.
Yeah.
Just a simple, that's me, thank you.
Just shows appreciation.
Yeah. So you've ordered, you paid, now you're patiently or impatiently waiting
Yeah.
for your caffeine fix. And now one of the coolest things Chat and Learn does, they include a role play
Yeah.
where the hosts actually act out
Yeah.
the ordering process.
Right.
So they go from the greeting all the way to picking up the drink.
Right.
And it's really cool to see.
It is.
Because you can visualize it.
That's
And that brings us to the end of this first part of our deep dive.
right.
But before we move on, I want to highlight one more thing Chat and Learn emphasizes. And that's practice.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
Just imagine yourself in that coffee shop scenario.
Yeah.
Using these phrases and techniques.
Absolutely.
And the more you practice,
Yes. Right.
the more confident you'll feel.
The more comfortable you'll be.
Yeah. And that's what we're aiming for here, to give you those tools to walk into any coffee shop, order what you want, and just feel good about it.
Exactly.
So we'll be back in
Right.
just a little bit.
Yeah. You know what's really interesting about this approach
Oh, yeah. What's that?
is that all these phrases that they give you, they're kind of like building blocks. So even if you want something that they didn't mention specifically,
Right.
you can just kind of adapt the phrasing.
Okay.
So it's really cool. Like they give you the tools
That's cool. I like that.
to kind of build your own confidence.
Yeah. So even if your taste buds are a little more adventurous
Right.
than a latte or cappuccino,
Exactly.
you can still use these tools
They got it.
to get what you want.
That's right.
So, for example,
Yeah.
if you want an iced coffee,
Yeah.
you could just say, "Can I have an iced coffee, please?" Or
Right. Or I'd like an iced caramel macchiato with oat milk.
Oh, yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah.
The possibilities are endless,
They are.
But here's another thing that Chad and Learn dives into,
Okay.
and it's something we often overlook.
Well, what's that?
Nonverbal communication.
Oh, yeah.
So subtle, but so important.
It is. It's very powerful. And they weave it in throughout the episode.
Yeah.
So, for example, when they're talking about greetings, they remind you to smile and make eye contact with the barista.
Oh, yeah, that's a good point.
It's just like being friendly and respectful before you even say a word.
It really sets the tone.
It does.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And they also talk about being clear, when you speak.
Clear speech, moderate pace.
Yeah.
Especially when you're giving your order,
Right.
No one wants to feel rushed or like they're mumbling through their coffee desires.
Oh, man. That's a good point.
Right.
I've definitely been that person trying to order quickly,
Yeah. And then they're like, what?
Right, exactly.
Yeah, you don't want to do that.
So, yeah, clear and at a moderate pace.
Yes.
And on the other side of that, don't be, too loud or demanding.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
Just be assertive, but also polite and respectful.
Yes. Find that sweet spot.
I like that. Yeah, the sweet spot.
Yeah.
Now, here's something that really resonated with me.
Okay.
When they acknowledge that misunderstandings happen,
Well, they do.
especially in a busy coffee shop,
Yeah.
it can be noisy.
It can be loud.
And, sometimes things get lost in translation.
Right.
So how do they say we can navigate those situations?
Well, they encourage you to just speak up if you don't understand something.
Oh, yeah, that's a good point.
If the barista uses a term that you're not familiar with,
Yeah.
don't hesitate to say excuse me, could you repeat that? Or, I'm sorry, I didn't catch that.
Yeah, those are good.
Just little phrases that can help you out.
That's so much better than ending up with something you didn't want.
Oh, absolutely.
Right.
Yeah, or that awkward moment where they hand you the drink.
Right.
And you're like, this isn't what I ordered.
Exactly.
So it's always best to
Yeah.
clarify if you're not sure.
Yeah. And they even suggest using gestures. If
Yeah.
you need to, if you're trying to explain the size of the drink, you can use your hands to show.
Like small, medium, or large?
Yeah.
Just those visual cues
Yeah.
can really help.
And especially if there's a language barrier,
Yeah. Right.
sometimes that's all you need.
Absolutely.
So if we take a step back,
Yeah.
and look at the big picture,
Yeah.
what are the golden nuggets
Right.
of wisdom here?
Yeah. Yeah.
What are they giving us to become coffee ordering masters?
Well, I would say the most important things are to be prepared,
Okay.
be polite, and be confident.
Okay. I like those.
So prepare by practicing those phrases they provide.
Yeah.
Be polite by using them in a friendly and respectful way.
Mm-hmm.
And be confident in your ability to communicate your needs.
I love that. Yeah.
And just remember those nonverbal cues.
Right.
And be willing to ask for clarification if you need it.
I love that.
Yeah.
It's like a recipe for success.
It is.
Right?
Yeah.
But, even if you make a little mistake,
Yeah.
it's not a big deal.
That's not the end of the world.
It's not.
Everyone makes mistakes. And baristas are usually pretty understanding.
I think so, too. Yeah, they see a lot of people come
End of it.
through.
They really do.
So it's all about progress, not perfection.
Yeah.
And who knows, ordering coffee might actually become
Yeah.
your favorite way to practice English.
It could be.
Yeah.
It's fun. It's low pressure.
It is low pressure.
Right.
And it's a nice way to
Yeah.
have a little chat.
Yeah, it's a good point of connection.
Yeah.
So there's one more layer to this coffee ordering adventure
Okay.
that Chat and Learn talks about,
Right.
and something that can really trip people up.
Okay. What's that?
Regional variations in slang.
Ah,
The
yes.
secret language.
It's like a whole secret language.
It is.
You know, it's like what you might think is a normal coffee order in one place
Right.
could be totally different somewhere else.
Absolutely.
So, for example, what do you call a small coffee where you're from?
Where I'm from, it's just a small coffee.
Okay.
But I know some places call it a short
Uh-huh.
or even a regular.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, it's so different.
It is.
Yeah.
And then you have those regional specialties.
Oh, yeah.
Like red eye or New Orleans iced coffee.
Yes.
You might not be familiar to all.
So, everyone.
And let's not forget the slang,
Oh, yeah.
you know?
Like Cup of Joe.
Have you ever heard that one?
Oh, yeah.
A cup of Joe.
Yeah. And then there's Java and brew and mud.
Yeah.
All kinds of things.
It's like a whole new vocabulary list,
It is.
right?
It really is.
And so navigating all of that, you know,
Yeah.
especially when you're learning English,
Right.
it can be really tricky.
Absolutely.
So what can our listeners do
Yeah.
if they encounter one of these linguistic curveballs?
That's a great question. What tips does Chat and Learn offer? So it suggests, just be observant and ask questions.
Okay.
If you hear a term you don't know, don't be afraid to politely ask
Mm-hmm.
what it means.
Okay.
So you could say something like, "Excuse me, I'm not familiar with that term. What does red eye mean?"
That's a great strategy.
Yeah, just a
Yeah.
simple
Yeah.
way to avoid any confusion.
It really is.
Yeah.
And it shows that you're curious too.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, and remember, even native English speakers come across
Right?
regional variations in slang that they don't know.
That's true.
It happens to all of us.
Yeah.
It's part of what makes language so interesting.
I know.
Mm-hmm.
Right? It's always evolving.
It is.
It's dynamic.
It really is.
So as we've been talking about all these nuances of ordering coffee,
Yeah.
it's made me think about like the cultural side of things.
Oh, yeah.
You know,
the cultural aspect.
Coffee culture is so different
It is.
around the world.
Absolutely.
And what might be totally normal in one country
Right.
could be seen as strange or even rude in another.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, like for instance,
Yeah.
in some cultures, it's totally normal to spend hours in a coffee shop working or chatting with friends.
Yeah.
But other places, people just grab their coffee and go.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
And the tipping customs
Oh, yeah.
are totally different.
Huge differences there.
Yeah.
Yeah. In some countries, it's expected.
Yeah.
Others, it's not customary or could even be considered offensive.
Yeah. That's a good point.
Yeah.
It's wild how something as simple as ordering coffee
No.
can be tied to all these cultural norms.
Yeah. It's fascinating.
It is. And I think it's important for our listeners
Yeah.
to be mindful of those differences.
Right.
Especially if they're traveling.
Especially if they're traveling or interacting with people from different backgrounds.
Yeah, for sure. So for those who are kind of navigating these cultural waters,
Yeah.
what advice does Chat and Learn offer?
Well, they really emphasize being respectful, observant, and adaptable.
Okay.
You know, being respectful means understanding that different cultures have different customs,
Mm-hmm.
and there's no one right way to do things,
That's a great point.
you know?
About recognizing and appreciating the differences.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then being observant means paying attention to how locals act,
Okay.
you know, when they're in coffee shops
Yeah.
and trying to kind of blend in, you know? So, like, if you notice everyone's waiting patiently in line, it's probably not a good idea to cut in.
Yeah. Even if you're in a hurry.
Right, exactly.
Okay.
And then finally, being adaptable means, you know, just adjusting your behavior based on the cultural context.
Okay.
So, for example, if you're used to tipping generously, but you're in a country where it's not expected,
Right.
it's best to follow the local custom,
Yeah.
you know?
Be mindful.
Yeah.
It all boils down to being culturally sensitive,
Mm-hmm.
and respecting those norms.
Yeah.
And I think embracing those cultural differences
Absolutely.
makes the experience so much richer.
It does. It adds like a whole other layer to the experience.
It does. So as we wrap up this deep dive,
Yeah.
I really want to encourage our listeners to go beyond just mastering the language of ordering coffee.
Yes.
Let's encourage them to really savor that cultural tapestry.
I love that.
You know?
So the next time you're in a coffee shop, take a moment to appreciate that global blend of caffeine and culture.
I love that.
Yes. And remember, whether you're ordering a latte, a cappuccino, or a cup of joe, the most important thing is to approach it with curiosity, respect, and a little dash of adventure.
I love that. That's a great note to end on.
Cheers to this.
Cheers. So as you head out on your next coffee run, remember what we talked about today? Embrace the language. Enjoy the culture. And order with confidence.
Absolutely.
And hey, maybe you'll even inspire someone else to go on their own coffee-fueled linguistic adventure.
I hope so.
That's awesome. All right, well, that's it for today's deep dive. Thanks for listening.
Thanks for having me.